Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the meeting of the Swansea Bay Joint Committee. I'll go for apologies for absence first. I believe we have a number of apologies today.
We do. I have apologies from Councillor Rob Jones, and Councillor Ted Latham is covering for him. From Ian Westley, or I shouldn't say that anymore, sorry. From Richard Brown, from Maria Battle, Wendy Walters and Phil Roberts.
Okay, thank you for all of those. And I think we also need to welcome Phil Ryder today, who's joined the portfolio office as a portfolio office manager. So welcome, Phil. And in terms of the apologies, do we have any substitutes standing in this afternoon?
Just Councillor Ted Latham for Councillor Rob Jones.
Yeah, Councillor Latham again.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
Are there any others in terms of changes for today's meeting? If not, we'll go to declarations of interest. Are there any declarations that anybody wishes to make on any items on the agenda? I don't see any. Okay, thank you. We'll go then to the minutes of the Joint Committee held on the 12th of November. I'm happy to move those as a true record. Can I have a seconder, please, for anybody who is in attendance?
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Latham. All happy to agree? Okay, thank you very much. I don't believe there were any specific actions coming out of those minutes. I have no announcements as chair of the committee today, and Hugh, I don't believe we've had any questions from the public in for today's meeting.
None at all.
Okay, so we'll move along then to item 6, which is the note on the economic business. Apologies, my iPad's closed a second. There we are. So this is the digital infrastructure business case, and also we'll also be taking some economic and strategy board feedback as part of that. So thank you very much. So can I welcome Gareth first of all as the program manager who's taken this forward. I think for members of the committee, this the digital infrastructure program is a significant program within our portfolio, and it's a key project for us to deliver, which ties together a number of other opportunities that we've been seeking to progress. So it's very exciting to see this here today, but I'll call Gareth in a second. In the meantime, though, Councillor Dole, as Carmarthen is the lead authority for this project, did you want to say a few words?
You're on mute, Emlyn.
That always catches me out. Yeah, thank you, Chair. If I can, because as you've read and heard, that this project is an investment in the digital connectivity and the associated telecommunications infrastructure of the region as a whole. It includes, but it's not limited to, full fibre fixed connectivity and associated infrastructure with that, 4G, 5G and the Internet of Things wireless networks. And as Gareth tells me on numerous occasions, it is the deployment of enabling technology. And that means that it allows quality digital services to be delivered and accessed over fixed line networks or wireless networks, and ensures that the region is equipped with future-proofed digital infrastructure. And that's going to provide that transformative foundation for the City Deal interventions and the wider growth across the region. Absolutely essential. It will also help to ensure social inclusion and post-COVID-19 region as well, which is absolutely vital. When we sat down together, Rob, 3 years or more ago, we thrashed out the main themes of the City Deal. We said it was energy, it was smart manufacturing, it was well-being, life science, all being underpinned by this digital technology. That was reiterated time and time again by our previous chair, Sir Terry Matthews. And I distinctly remember two things he said to me at one time over lunch. he said that more important than any road or shining building that we put up in this city deal, it's this digital highway that we build, which becomes the foundation that supports all of these projects. And he made that point clearly on many occasions. The second was that around enabling technology, he said, and he repeated this on numerous occasions, if you can get your rural requirement right in digital terms, then it'll work everywhere across the region. And he did say that time and again, always a good place to start. Well, that rural ambition is stated very clear here, as is the rest of it. And I'm so glad that we lead on this one for the region. Look forward to now getting it on on behalf of all of us in the region. And absolutely, we have the right man in Gareth Jones. So I'm glad to be able to do that and to say that, Rob, because we're pleased to lead on this.
Absolutely, Councillor Dollar, excellent. And Gareth, after that build-up, I'll hand over to you to take us through the case, and then after you've done that, I'll take questions, and then we'll come to Chris for the ESB feedback. So, Gareth, over to you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Rob. Diolch, Emlyn. Bear with me for a second. I shall bring up just a handful of slides. So, everybody's seeing what I'm seeing? So,
yeah,
I'll just take you through a handful of slides that cover off the digital infrastructure programme of the Swansea deal. As Rob and Emlyn have explained, it is essentially an investment in the connectivity of the region. It is, in its simplest terms, that an investment in the 4G coverage, the 5G coverage, and other wireless networks of the region, and the full fibre infrastructure that will underpin the connectivity of the region for at least the next 20 to 30 years. So that's it in a nutshell. This slide is seeking to set the scene, if you will, provide some context in terms of digital infrastructure and where it sits in terms of its importance to, I suppose, society, life, and obviously business and commerce as well. So those pillars or those arrows pointing upwards are the various ambitions and digital services across the region. So, you know, City Deal portfolio projects, the digital transformation of the public sector and the private sector, digital inclusion and digital skills and social cohesion and well-being, as I mentioned earlier, smart places, smart cities, smart rural, smart communities, and the individual digital aspirations of the region. That is all fantastic and absolutely essential, of course, but none of it will happen without first-class digital infrastructure and first-class connectivity, which I think is the point that that slide is seeking to highlight. So hopefully it gives you a feel for the importance of this investment, that it's not just about the next 3 to 5 years. This is about underpinning the region and prosperity for the next 20 to 30 years. So what are we going to do then? So ultimately, that's it in a nutshell. So it's a £55 million pound programme of investment over 5 years. It's split across 3 primary projects. The first of which is an investment in rural connectivity. You can see on the left there, it's a £25 million investment in connecting the poorly connected, shall we say, of the region. I'll come on to some figures shortly, but we do have a problem in terms of rural and underserved communities and people and businesses, which needs to be resolved. So that rural work stream is a series of interventions ranging from everything from as simple as demand stimulation, promotion of the importance of connectivity, also the promotion of existing solutions, existing funding streams, providing support to communities, individuals and businesses to access existing funding streams and existing traditional technologies and alternative technologies. We will seek to support communities in aggregating demand and exploiting voucher schemes, as well as a significant multi-million pound procurement in connecting some of the worst connected parts of the region, communities of the region. The second of the 3 work streams then, Next Generation Wireless, as you can see, is a £9.5 million investment in 4G, 5G and other Internet of Things wireless networks. And possibly as important as the connectivity itself, an investment in the use cases and the exploitation of that infrastructure. So we will be seeking to fund some exploitation of Internet of Things networks and 5G networks as well. In all of this, in all of the work we've done so far and moving forward to delivery, we never lose sight of the fact that infrastructure is great, but infrastructure on its own is completely useless. It's all about what we do with that infrastructure and what people, communities and businesses do with that infrastructure and do with that connectivity. So next generation wireless, yes, it's about the coverage of those networks, it's about what we do with them as well. And then the third of those three projects, Connected Places, that's all about world-class connectivity across the urban areas of the region. So Swansea City, absolutely, there's a huge opportunity there, economically, and as well as Swansea, Leith, Port Talbot, Llanelli, potentially Cross Hands, Pembroke Dock, Carmarthen, etc. So that's about the distribution of full fibre, ultra-fast connectivity, and the passive infrastructure required to support the deployment of that high bandwidth connectivity. And you'll see at the bottom there the headline figures. I mentioned the 55 million over 5 years and the projected 318 million of GVA increase over 15 years. The next slide then, why are we doing this? So there's a couple of slides on why. The first slide is because we've got some problems to solve. Limited full fibre across the region. So as a region, we don't stack up well to some of the best connected regions across the Swansea isn't where it should be in terms of connectivity in comparison to the best connected cities in the UK, and the wider region isn't where it should be in comparison to other regions across the UK. So we need to address that. We've got 22,000 non-superfast premises in our region. So that's 22,000 homes and businesses who can't access, which isn't acceptable by today's standards. It certainly won't cut the mustard for the next 20 to 30 years, that's for sure. So that's a problem we need to resolve. We do have a lack of supplier competition, a lack of telecoms builders and fibre builders in the region capable of building these networks and building this connectivity at the pace that we need it, desire it, want it. So that's something we're seeking to address. We are, it is articulated in the business case that stimulating a supplier market is part of our strategic ambitions. There's a lack of uptake and adoption as well across the regions. That's very important. So even the people who can access ultra-fast connectivity and super-fast connectivity today, there's lots that aren't for various reasons. We strongly suspect that COVID will have helped shift those uptake and adoption figures in the right direction. We're waiting for the latest figures from Ofcom and others. But ultimately, demand stimulation, marketing and media, raising awareness of how important connectivity is and what you can do with it. And that's the really crucial bit, what you can do with it and add value to your business, your life, your family, your home, etc. That's a big part of what we're seeking to resolve. And there's a lack of awareness and understanding. So around what options are available to people in the region currently, what they can expect in the future, and what alternative connectivity options are available for people who perhaps are struggling with the most traditional means of connectivity at the moment. So we're seeking to help raise that awareness and understanding. So the second slide then, in terms of why are we doing this? And this is, we've talked about the problems, absolutely, but we've got massive opportunities. Let's be very, very positive here. Economic recovery and prosperity of the connectivity is absolutely going to underpin that, and already is, as I'm sure you'll agree. Innovation and new business streams, clearly access to the internet, reliable, ultra reliable and ultra fast access to the internet is the foundation of much of the innovation that we'll see over the next 20 years. Social inclusion and cohesion, certainly in the last 9 months, COVID has shone a light on how important connectivity is to business, commerce, SMEs, absolutely, but also to people and people's lives and people's homes and people's families. So social inclusion and cohesion is a big factor in our business case. That's probably the element we've strengthened the most over the last 9 months, I'd say. And then that £318 million GVA uplift. Clearly, that is an opportunity and something we would like to ensure. So how will we deliver the programme then? So that's it in a nutshell. The diagram on the left there is the governance structure of the city deal at the moment, which I'm sure everybody is well versed in. And then that diagram on the right is the program structure for digital infrastructure. So the box in the middle is essentially myself and the future team that's being recruited to run the project. We have, you will see that dotted line leading to a digital infrastructure program board that has representation from across the region, its partners and stakeholders, and I am essentially answerable to that board, and they steer the investment and make the key decisions in terms of delivery as we move to delivery. And then you'll see the 3 projects underneath there. So hopefully that's fairly self-explanatory. This slide then finally, hopefully, will provide as much reassurance and as possible in terms of the processes and procedures we've been through, the engagement and the feedback that's fed into all of this, that set the agenda for the investment, that steered the creation of the business case and will steer the delivery of its projects and work streams. So City Deal partners, as I've said, have been heavily involved and consulted throughout. Everybody, both universities, both health boards, the 4 local authorities, the private sector, etc. Economic Strategy Board, several times we've had detailed conversations and extremely valuable feedback and steer in terms of the business case, what we're seeking to achieve and how we seek to achieve it. That will continue, I would hope, moving forward to delivery. We've used experts, consultants to pull together the business case. They've helped us. It's been an enormous help in terms of the economic case and the financial case and lots of other elements. So hopefully that provides confidence in terms of what the business case is articulating. Digital infrastructure industry, the telecoms industry, then we've had lots of engagement there, and that's ongoing, certainly as we move to market testing and pre-procurement. Very, very important that those relationships with the industry is there, and it is. Other regional growth deals, so we meet regularly with the Welsh regional growth deals, absolutely. We have monthly calls where I catch up with my equivalents, and we share ideas and we lobby, sometimes Welsh and UK government, and it's an extremely beneficial ongoing conversation, that one. UK and Welsh government, so we've held multiple policy days and one-to-one conversations with the relevant digital infrastructure experts within both UK and Welsh government. Again, those conversations are ongoing, but they've had a significant steer into the business case and the direction of the programme as a whole. That will continue again. Regional office is, we're working to all of the regional offices' governance, all of their process and procedure in terms of good, transparent programme management and project management and delivery. And then finally, so at the end of October, we approached Welsh Government to arrange an external stage gate review of the programme and the plans and the governance that all sits behind it. It was an extremely beneficial process, welcomed the recommendations that came out of it. The overall assessment of the programme as it stands today was an amber green, which we're very happy about. So it's given us lots of reassurance in terms of what we've got in place at the moment and our plans moving forward. But it's also given us some good recommendations in terms of how we strengthen further and to make sure we continue on the right track, which we at the moment appear to be on. So it was a worthwhile exercise and a valuable input for us moving forward. And that's it in a nutshell. Thanks. I'll hand back to yourself, Rob, if that's okay.
Yeah, thank you, Gareth. Really helpful presentation. Can I thank you as well for the work that you've done on this project since taking over? I think you've done an outstanding job, to be honest with you, and you should be very proud.
Thanks, Rob.
So, before we go on to questions to Gareth, if I can call Chris Foxall in next. Chris, if you'd like to provide the Economic Strategy Board feedback on this business case.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, to build on what Gareth said, I mean, we were very excited about this project being part of the city deal, knowing that it's going to have a truly regional impact across all 4 local authorities. And I think it's been really encouraging for us to have the project team engage so well and really respond to some of our suggestions, which is excellent. I think one of the biggest issues we had was quite clearly, and it's identified in the SWOT, that this is not enough money to get us where we need to get to in terms of a level playing field, never mind a competitive advantage. And so the challenge was pushed back to be more ambitious, not unrealistic, but think how this would fit into a regional strategy. And I'm glad that the project team is taking on that regional digital strategy role, because when we're looking for the investment, really there's not not necessarily market failure. There's certainly not as much interest at the moment, because we need to articulate what the larger opportunity is going to be. And it was mentioned in the business plan around smart city, smart transportation, etc. So all of the goals, I think, are achievable. I think the strategic nature of the project, cross-cutting with other projects and thinking about the growth areas of what will make this work well. We're certainly committed to helping steer this forward, make introductions to companies and investors where necessary. And from all of our interactions, we don't see any impediments to moving this forward and recommending this to joint committee. There are some areas of opportunity which we've formally recorded, which are looking for a demonstrator site. We've looked at potentially the SA1 campus, and I know there's an introduction to another company looking to do something very, very similar in terms of remote power for 4G and 5G applications, which the project's now been introduced to. Again, with other projects looking for the opportunity to create supply chain in the area, where there's a chance to do that from a manufacturing standpoint or services standpoint. We also recommended, which is not in the formal recommendations, but quite clearly Gav has picked up on it, that the other regional strategies are engaged, such as Cardiff Capital Region, who have progressed quite well with their relationship with Spectrum, the investment that's come in from Infra Capital. Excuse me. Can you still hear? Yeah, sorry. So yes, we heartily recommend this going forward, and as I say, our commitment is to see this project successful, and we'll continue to do that. Any questions?
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Chris. That's really helpful. Okay, so any questions to either Gareth or Chris in terms of what they've presented this today? Anybody got any comments, questions they'd like to raise? Emma, come in. Yeah.
Hi, thank you, Rob. It is a very exciting business case. Forgive me, I've not been through it in as much detail as I would like, because I'm rushing around on many other things. But I did just, have we got confirmed the commercial investment for this, or is this something that comes through at a later stage?
Hi Emma, thanks. No, we don't have it confirmed at the moment, because it will be different for each of the projects. There's actually more than one procurement in one of the projects, and there's another substantial procurement in one of the other projects. So no, not yet, but we intend to tease it out very soon in the new calendar year.
I'm with you. So this goes through to Welsh Government. It gets the approval, but it's presumably subject to that investment coming through.
Yeah. There'll be several competitive procurement exercises. Yeah, as part of the programme. Yeah.
Excellent, great. It does look fantastic. I'm very, very supportive of it. There is one other very tiny point, which is we're down as ABMU, and we're now Swansea Bay University Health Board. If you just mind picking that up. Thank you very much.
No problem.
I'm sure we'll do that, Emma. And I think it's one of those challenges that not just this project has faced, but others, which is obviously to ensure we stay the right side of the procurement laws. We can't, name or engage often with the private sector companies formally until such time as the project is approved and all the other bits are in place. So there is a process to this, which is sometimes frustrating, but we do have to do it in the right and lawful way. And I guess well, that's one of the questions I guess we've had with ministers as well, because ministers often challenge us on, well, where are the private sector commitments on these things? And of course, often you can't formalize those until the business cases are in place. So it is a challenge. But again, I've been watching with interest what Gareth and the team have been doing, and I have to say I'm hugely impressed by the progress that's been made. And this is a very, very important project. I mean, I think the press challenged us a few times, Emlyn, over the years around whether we were still the Internet Coast City deal, and we are. And everything we do is still connected via the key aim of putting in the best digital infrastructure we can. And I do certainly take the challenge that Chris has laid down, which is how can we maximize then, and how can we add to our ambition once the project, I assume, well, obviously I would hope that we'd support it today, but once the project is in place, what do we then do to maximize the benefits that it can bring? And this is the start of the journey, and we do know that once things are in place, that is when you are more likely to see investors come and more things happen. So very much up for that challenge. Sorry, Chris, I think your hand went back up. Did you want to come back in?
Yeah, just on that note, and obviously that's been a key challenge from the Economic Strategy Board also to the projects. But what I do see is that the process or the precedent set actually with the Swansea City Centre project, where we went out through a pin to the market to see what sort of interest there was from investment partners. And I think we've got that, we have that opportunity to do it. And I think the second thing that gives me a lot of confidence is that we're now starting to think a bit more strategic as a region and have greater ambitions. And this is what the private sector want to see, that we're not just looking at a small isolated project, which will not lead to further investment and growth.
Absolutely. Okay. Are there any other comments or questions? If not, then you've had the run through from Gareth. So Gareth, thank you very much for that. And Chris, thank you very much for the ESB feedback. So we've got the recommendations in the report to approve the digital infrastructure business case. I'm happy. Well, Emlyn, shall I go to you to formally move them as the leader authority?
Happy to do that, Chair. Yeah, I'll do that.
I'm very happy to second. Can I ask then those in favour, please show? Thank you very much. That's unanimous.
Sorry, can I just point out there, only the leaders or the deputies can be voting, right? So there's only 4 votes there, please.
Luckily here on my phone, I can only see 4 leaders, so you're all right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's carried unanimously. Gareth, thank you very much. Please take our thanks back to the team and well done.
Thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr. Ta-ra.
Thank you. Before we go on to item 7, it was remiss of me not to also welcome today Karen Jones, who's the new Chief Executive of Neath Talbot. So Karen, welcome to your first formal joint committee meeting as leader of as a Chief Executive of Neath Talbot. And welcome. I'll offer you a chance to say a few words if you wanted to.
Just to say that I'm pleased to be here, Rob, and particularly around the last project that you've been discussing there. I think that digital project's been perhaps a little while coming along, but it's fantastic to see it on the table because it is going to be the project I think that's going to make the difference for all of us. And just to say, I look forward to working with you all.
Fantastic. Likewise, Karen, welcome aboard. And congratulations on your appointment. Okay, we'll move on then to item 7, which is the monthly programme and project update. So, Jonathan, over to you.
Thanks, Chair. You've all got in your packs monthly highlight reports. So I'm just going to draw out some key things from those highlight reports. So if you want to bring those up on your screen. The first one is digital infrastructure. I don't think I need too much to update other than a couple of bits. And Chair, incidentally, Gareth is the team, just incidentally. So he's done an absolute sterling job, as you've already stated. But what we're trying to do is do some preparation around recruitment for Gareth at risk. to make sure that he gets the resources and the support that he needs to then get the project into delivery as quickly as we can, whilst seeking Welsh and UK government approval. And then the other part is around a risk around lack of telecommunication suppliers within the region, or attracting them to the region. So Gareth's doing a lot of work in liaising with various parties to try and get that risk minimised. So that's digital infrastructure. The next one in your pack is skills and talent. So the business case is being developed, and just to echo what Karen said about digital infrastructure, this is a critical one as well across the region to support many of the initiatives that we have for City Deal and other regional developments. So what we're currently working on at the moment is working with our project leads to make sure that things are aligned across the City Deal, and putting that into our economic case, the need and how and what we will be doing for that project. We hope that the business plan will be ready for submission in the new year. We were hoping before Christmas, but it's going to be pushed back to January, February. That's what our aim is. And again, there's stuff around delay of implementation as a risk for this programme to support the other projects. So we will need some quick wins within that project, and we will also need some what I call slow burners to make sure that we achieve the 15-year ambitions of the city region. So it's that kind of balance. Incidentally, if anybody from the project areas want to jump on any of these, please let me know, and then I can pause whilst you do that. The third one then is homes as power stations. So the intent is that the outline business case will come to my portfolio office prior to Christmas, and we'll get it on to Welsh and UK government for approval. So we have already regionally approved this project. The only difference being is that it's gone through an external gateway review. That was completed in June. The economic case has been revised and the business case has been strengthened. So that will come back to me hopefully this week, and then we can get that to Welsh and UK government for approval. But there's lots of things within it already happening. So there's things like Pathfinder developments and Neath, that's been complete. Third-party funding agreements have been developed and agreed for 2 HAPS funds. Planning workshop with key stakeholders are underway to look at how we can develop the brand. There's a lot of feedback saying that it doesn't say where it says on the tin. So homes as power stations as a brand could change, but we're going to go through stakeholder engagement to identify what is an appropriate brand for that. And then stuff around, again, risks around appointing a project team. So we are, again, progressing at risk to recruit a project manager within that Homes as Power Stations project to give it its best success for delivery once it's approved by Welsh and UK government. The next one is Swansea City Waterfront Digital District. So lots of stuff is happening, and you physically can see that as well. So the iconic bridge linking the arena site, that is now on site. Ready to be in place early 2021. Letting discussions are all underway around the commercial space around the arena. Construction tender for the Kingsway is being analysed, and there's a cabinet decision. I just had an update from the project manager, but I don't have the detail around. That was planned for Q4 2020, but it looks as if it's been pushed back to Q1 2021. So I'm not sure if anybody from Swansea would like to update on that beyond what I just said.
Yeah, I can update on that, Jonathan. Okay. Essentially, there was when the responses came back in on the Kingsway site, there's some further clarifications needed. So we need to go through those clarifications before the final decision on the appointing the successful bidder can take place, and therefore, obviously, the cabinet report as a result is slightly delayed.
Okay, thanks, Chair. The other 2 aspects then are pre-application discussions around the Box Village. And in relation to the Box Village, with Trinity St David's, they've been looking at rebranding, so they're now going to call that the Innovation Matrix. So what was the Box Village is now called Innovation Matrix. And then the last one is around, as it's a risk for pretty much all of our projects, but this one in particular on construction, and that's making sure that the impact on timescales and costs are managed. So it's underway with Hugh Mowbray as the project manager. Pentra Owl. So the business cases have been submitted following joint committee approval last month. So Welsh and UK government now have that. Chris Moore's on the call. He and Sharon presented to Welsh government officials. That went really well. We had positive feedback from that. And again, Chris, hot off the press, there are new UK government officials being appointed that we will have to replicate that presentation to. So that is underway and will hopefully happen within the next week or so. That's looking positive. The key risk around this is timescales. It's all around procurement. We need to get this procurement process. We're doing everything we can. I say we, the royal we. Sharon and Chris are doing everything they can to get procurement up to a point, but we need the approval in place before we take it any further. And the risk around not having that approval of the project is that academic and health partners, there could be risks around them requiring a space by 2023, I think it was, Chris, for the academic year.
Yeah, correct, John. Yeah.
So we're at a critical point to make sure we get the approval so we can undertake the procurement process, etc. So
John, sorry, Chris, do you want to come in first?
Yeah, just by way of update, whilst we are waiting for the approval from Welsh Government, we have actually met with the contractors on the framework and engaged with them on a contractor day, on a contractor engagement meeting, which all went very well. And basically all contractors who were on the framework are very interested in the scheme. So, and we are progressing with the tender documentation for the next stage. So we're not sitting on our laurels waiting whilst Welsh Government are actually progressing the business case through their process in Welsh Government. And yes, I was aware of the further call with Welsh Government of the new officials, and we'll get that in the diary as soon as possible.
Thanks, Chris. Chair, did you want to come back in there as well?
Yeah, sorry, John. I was just going to say, I think the new officials are in Wales office rather than Welsh Government, aren't they?
Wales office in UK Government. Yes.
Yeah. So again, my understanding is that the new officials are the ones that we've been dealing with on other topics recently, and we found them to be very, very good. Yeah. So again, whilst the new team coming in sometimes means that you have to repeat some of the stuff that you've done previously, I'm hoping not on this case, and that there is no delay. And all I'd say is, look, I mean, John and the team there have some very good relationships now with both bodies, and obviously we've got an existing relationship with some of the new people coming in to support the evaluation of some of the stuff we're sending through. But again, if there's anything we can do to help coordinate those responses so that any remaining questions or clarifications are resolved quickly, then obviously we'll do that, because what we don't want to do is to leave any stone unturned in terms of making sure we meet the deadlines we've set.
That's good to hear, Chair, if I may, about those new officials. Thank you for that.
At the end of the update, I'll mention their names and what they do, so we got a record of that. So the next project is Pembroke Dock Marine. So there's been very positive engagement around WEFO, because part of the funding for that project is WEFO related. Pembroke Dock Infrastructure and the Marine Energy Test Centre, Energy Test Area, Phase 2 planning applications are both imminent. We've offered support again. I think Stephen's on the call and Councillor Simpson. We've offered support from the Portfolio Office to help establish the formal project governance for that. So we're waiting to hear back from Pembrokeshire Council on that. But we need to get that governance in place. Now there's a kind of shadow governance in place at the moment, but to push things forward as a programme, we need to get that underway. And again, a lot of it is all around risks to deliver the commitments while project funding agreements are being finalised. So I think they're still in the final stage of being finalised. There's one outstanding issue that I think has been fed back to Pembrokeshire Council. So hopefully within the next few days, we will have an update on that to say that the funding agreements are in place and have been signed. Support innovation, low carbon growth. The Swansea Bay Technology Centre, the RIBA Stage 5 construction has commenced. We are effectively commencing at risk, but this is around WEFO funding requirements. So we still don't have the project approved by Welsh and UK Government, but revisions are. There was an external review and then a follow-up and stuff around the economic case and bringing it together as a programme of 7 projects. There's been a lot of legwork behind the scenes to provide that clarity as to how it all fits together. So I think we're virtually there, and the team with Lisa and Nicola and co, they've done really good stuff, and we're hoping to get that to the PMO by Christmas and then over to Welsh and UK Government for approval. But the critical friend review that followed the stage gate review, that delivery plan is in progress, and they've done lots of good things on that. And then the only other point is the air quality monitoring sensors. They've been purchased at risk prior to the business case approval. But again, that's all a measured risk that the project has taken. The last project, I think it's the last one, yep, campuses. So various things have, again, good progress. Floor plans and zoning outlines have been completed, and that's phase 1 at Singleton and Morriston. Development of new skills provision is underway, and they're also looking at finalising a feasibility study with the architects and the costs associated with that. Commercial arrangements are starting to take place between the Swansea Council and the health boards. They're currently being finalised. And again, there's a lot of risk around, as you would expect on all these projects, around COVID-19 economic downturn and then co-investment from the private sector. But one of the most recent things was campuses did an initial briefing to Welsh and UK government as a kind of early stage development, noting that the business case hasn't been shared with anyone. This is just about giving a heads up as to what the project entails, who the people are, to try and again smooth the way when it comes down the line for approval. And looking towards Chris Vauxhall, we need to do that same thing, I think, Chris, for ESB, and we've talked about this previously, just to give a kind of indication of what campuses is looking at. So, Chair, that's the updates. The only thing I wanted to add was relating to the Welsh office in UK government. So Jonathan Gibson and Gareth Ashman are the two individuals. So Gareth's background is more around programme management, programme delivery. He used to work for the MOD. Jonathan Gibson is more on policy. But again, all the soundings are very positive, and we will continue to engage, as Rob said, to make sure that they understand what our projects are about. Supporting the Minister to identify any key questions that they have, and then responding to those, again, to get approvals through as quickly as we can. Okay, so Chair, that's my update.
Thank you, John. Again, a significant amount of progress being made across the piece there, which is really encouraging. And thanks to you and your team for doing that. I'll open it up. Does anybody got any comments, questions, or additions to anything John has said in terms of any of the projects that we're currently progressing? Wait 2 minutes, anybody? No? Okay, everybody happy? That's good stuff. All right, thank you, John. Appreciate it. Sorry, Emlyn, did you want to come in? Apologies. No, you're right. Okay. Over to Chris then. Chris Moore for the next item, Q2 financial monitoring. Chris?
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Rob, there's a vote required on the last item.
Oh, apologies. On the programme update. Just
there's a recommendation there is.
Apologies.
That's
okay.
Why my hand was up, Rob. Yeah.
Apologies. So that you see the recommendation there. Can the leaders show whether they're in favour or not, please? All those in favour? David, could I ask you to cast a vote? Thank you very much. Cheers. That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Against? None, and obviously abstentions. None. Okay. Lovely. Thank you. So, Chris, back to you. Q2 monitoring report.
Okay. Thanks, Rob. Yes, as you say, this is the latest monitoring report based on figures up to the end of September. It does indicate a slight underspend on the expected expenditure, and if you run down the table on Appendix A, you will see that we anticipated originally spending about 818,000 this year. We're spending 656. This was inevitable on the basis of the PMO office has been ramping up through the year in terms of recruitment, and obviously some of the areas that we would have liked to have done work on during the year around have been limited with COVID around some of the expenditure items within that area. It does cover the joint committee function, the PMO office, and the actual joint scrutiny committee, and the functions of the accountable body. Funding at the latter part comes from two sources in the main, although there has been an additional small grant come in this year, but the main is an element of top slicing from the revenue support grant and the partner contributions, which is 50,000 from each of the partner contributions. Due to the phasing of it, it does demonstrate a surplus on the year, and the surplus will be rolled forward as part of the ongoing rolling balance into next year to fund next year's and subsequent years, because we are trying to fund about a 5-year window of the main functions of the city deal and the PMO office. So there's 481,000 rolling forward next year. Bearing in mind that although we've allocated the Swansea Bay City Deal grant there, which is a grant that is part of the top slicing of the overall 241 million, that is coming in over the 15 years, and that is an element of funding that the 4 constituent authorities need to manage, because we're upfront funding the actual PMO and the joint committee as part of the activity and the operation, which we have discussed before. So that really is, in summary, where the position is at the moment, and we'll keep it monitored through the rest of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for that. Any questions to Chris on the report? No, I don't see any hands. Okay, so does anybody have, do we have a vote or on this one?
Yes, a vote on this as well, sorry.
Okay, thank you very much, just checking. Okay, all those in favour of the recommendation, please show. Thank you very much, that's unanimous again, thank you. And then our final item for today is the regional levelling up proposal or prospectus, and I'll hand over to Chris, chair of the ESB, to talk us through this item. Chris?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So this is really a request that we get the okay from the leaders to prepare through the PMO some sort of growth plan or levelling up prospectus where we look beyond the city deal projects, so either enhancing them and looking for the future ongoing projects that come from them, or additional projects within their sectors that would impact through the region. So as you know, the UK government we're looking for shovel-ready projects within the regions, and other regions beyond Swansea have been preparing their regional plans for investment, which won't be just looking at levelling up funds, but shared prosperity funding and other competitive funding pots that are coming out at the moment from Innovate UK or BAYS. And I think from us at the ESB, it would be much easier, even though we have strategy that Councillor Emlyn was discussing earlier. We're growing our ambition. I think we need to, in some sort of document, and we need a plan how to get there. So at the moment, there's quite a few opportunities for corporates or investors looking to partner, but they need the scale. They need to understand what the upside is for them. There's also the need for co-investment through whether it's the city deal projects or for additional projects such as transport or energy projects, and we need the vehicles in place for that. So looking at infrastructure funds and other regional funding vehicles that would operate in our region. This again would be an opportunity to encapsulate all of those requirements into the region. So really the request is, and I'm happy to take any questions around the idea of this, but we put together this sort of regional, Robbie said levelling up perspectives. Levelling up is probably not the right term for it, but it's more of an ambition plan. So we can put together the strategies to attract the investment and make it really easy for us regionally to make smart decisions based around what we've articulated in a plan. So I'll leave it there and open up for questions.
Yeah, thank Chris. And look, I'm very supportive of what you're suggesting. I think whether you call it levelling up or something else, I mean, we're not just duplicating a a UK or a Welsh Government strategy. As you know, what we're doing is trying to say, look, we've got a suite of projects which are now in delivery, more following. They are going to create opportunities in themselves for more investment. We've also got the onset of a post-Brexit and a post-COVID recovery stimulus coming from both governments. We need to position ourselves as best we can to not only go after that money, but to receive it if it's available, and that's just private and public sector. So I think for all of those reasons, you know, we should put some effort into doing this. I know you mentioned John and his team over in the central office doing some support for that. And I think that's right in terms of being the first port of call. But again, I think we shouldn't rule out potentially either working with the capital region in terms of some cynicisms and similarities there, or going out to get some additional support if we need to do that. But the first port of call, as you quite rightly say, should probably be Jonathan and the team at the central office there. But look, I would say that it's in all of our interests here to make sure we're well positioned and ready to do this. So again, open it out for questions, but I would very much support what Chris has suggested today. A welcome comment from others. Okay, so I got Nicola first and then Steve.
Thank you, Rob. I know that we've been discussing wider funds and the availability of those funds and how they feed into our wider economic development ambitions within the region as part of our regional directors of regeneration meetings. I'm wondering whether it should be coordinated by that group. I appreciate that the PMO has got a role and responsibility in supporting our aspirations within this region, but we've been doing a lot of other work which sort of sits outside the City Deal projects, and I think we need to make sure that we don't lose sight of all the other work that we're doing and how it all fits together. Just wondering whether it should be something that is organised by the regional directors, albeit with an input from the PMO. Thank you.
Yeah, Nicola, very good point. I mean, as you say, we've got a very good track record of coordination and working together through our economic stimulus directors. I'm not particularly precious about where it gets done, as long as the work gets done and as long as the right resources are put to it. But yeah, good point, and we'll pick that up now when we come back to discuss. Okay, Stephen next, and then Emmeline.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, it was basically the same point that Nicola's raised. The regional directors have been working on a regional economic growth plan for a while. I think we've just commissioned the consultants. I believe the inception meeting is coming up in the next few days, so it is an opportune time, I guess, to join up some of these dots. So we have one plan for the city region that works, that wraps around the City Deal projects and addresses sorts of opportunities that Chris was referring to. So the work's well underway, really. I guess it's just a case of joining the bits up now. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Stephen. Emmeline?
Sorry, Robert, and to come back through Stephen, I was going to just second, if that's a proposal from Nicola, I was going to second that because I think that's where it sits as a starting point, and that's where it needs to go first. Okay, so I come to John. John, it seems everybody's fighting over the work. I don't think you're going to particularly be too worried as long as you get a chance to input, I guess. And I think, you know, what I would add to that, because I support what's being proposed by Nicola, is that obviously the reporting route does need to be back then via the ESB and into the joint committee so that we're clear about what's been delivered. But I think that was part of the intention anyway. So, John and Chris, are you both happy with what's being proposed there?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic that everyone's so supportive. I mean, you're probably all aware that we've had a recent opportunity with a very large investor corporate who really wanted us to put our energy strategy forward, which we were able to pull together. I think most people on this call were involved in that, which was really, really helpful. So it shows what we can do. I'm absolutely happy to work with anyone in the region to put it forward. Our goal is to ensure that we are raising our ambition. We are competitive with other regions, and it's a joined up strategic approach. Whoever we go through, I don't mind.
Okay, fantastic. Steve, your hand's still up. Did you want to come back in, or was it an old hand? It's an old hand. Okay, great.
Sorry, Rob.
No problem at all. Okay, so we've had a proposal which I'm happy to second if it hasn't already been. Are we all happy then that the economic development directors pull together that work and they feed it back through ESB and to joint committee so that we can see the outputs? Yeah. All happy. Thank you very much. That's again unanimous. So, Chris, that will now happen. Fantastic. Look, folks, two quick things then before we close for today. Firstly, our next meeting is due in January. We don't anticipate a significant number of items on it, so we may take that opportunity to get together informally instead in January. But I'll ask Hugh to put out the details for that one. And then finally, it's just from me really as chair to say thank you all very much again for your support and your attendance throughout the year. I think it's been a very good year of progress. Difficult for many of us as we've all been struggling with the added implications of COVID. But I think there isn't, and I said it before, there is no other region of Wales that can demonstrate the significant delivery pipeline that we can. My thanks obviously to Jonathan and the team over at the central office for the difference they've made this year since coming into post, and obviously for Chris for taking on the responsibilities of the ESB while Ed's obviously gone for his sabbatical break. And can I thank you all very much and wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and let's hope 2021 is a lot better than 2020. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chair.
Take care, folks.
Thank you, Chair. All the best.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Happy Christmas.